Hey Libra, thank you so much for tuning in. It's Romy here. Welcome if you're new, and if you are returning, then I appreciate you so much. Thank you. This is your July 2020 tarot card reading. My readings are general and they're designed to give you intuitive insights into your own soul journey. You might also like to check out your rising and your moon sign for a more comprehensive overview. Libra, if you're enjoying my work, you can also find a link to the extended version of the reading in the description box underneath and over on my website romywyser.com, and that helps to support my channel and the work that I do. Let's go ahead and see what's coming out for you this month. Okay, Libra family, let's take a look and see the energy story for July. So we're into Cancer season, the time when we need to feel and sense our way forward. But what came through just as I was preparing for your reading was the emergence of a brand new perspective for you, and within that you having the opportunity to come to terms with something through July, and that really affording you the willpower actually that you need to embark or to set forth in a brand new direction, or to make a really profound change in your life. So as we work through Cancer season, and for Libra rising particularly, we are in 10th house. Now 10th house is ruled by Capricorn, and there's an awful lot of Capricorn energy that is coming in at the beginning of the month, because on the 1st Saturn moves retrograde back into the sign of Capricorn, and then on the 5th of July we've got a full moon in the sign of Capricorn, which is also a lunar eclipse. So on the backdrop of this eclipse energy, where we are really dealing with some of the hidden emotions that are coming to the surface, what that's doing is helping you to clear something out. Okay, and in the clearing out, the kind of purging energy that's taking place for you, Libra, you have the opportunity to then look at this new direction and feel a little bit lighter within yourself, within your own energy, as you seek to make more positive changes. So we open up your reading with the card of the Fool. The journey that you are currently on is opening up a brand new world for you, I feel, in many different aspects. And obviously on a uniquely personal level, you're going to see some of the signs that are going to emerge in the month of July and perhaps give you some surprising twists to the story, you know. So I think that where you've maybe had some clear expectations around some plans for yourself, or you thought you understood the way things were heading, I want you to be prepared that July may well bring in some pleasant surprises from that perspective that actually just shows you that there are a few more possibilities on the table to consider. So here we're using the Painted Tarot deck. It's a new deck that's just come out. So the beautiful depiction of this pool, the Fool card here, is so vibrant, full of energy. And here we have the card of the Empress. So you've got lovely, bold energies coming in to work with. Now, you know, as we work in that 10th house, which links into Capricorn, it's also a cardinal energy, which you are also Libra. So this cardinal energy is helping you to figure out how to get things done. Yeah, and there's like this beautiful review taking place of how you want to express that kind of public persona. You know, 10th house is very linked into your career and your legacy and your reputation, and you know, the changes that you want to make in these areas of your life. With the card of the Empress coming in, there's this beautiful sense of empowerment that is coming forth, and this energy is available to you. Now, depending on where you find yourself right now in the process, you know, you may well still be dealing with some challenge and some mucky kind of energies that are almost creating a veil or hiding kind of some of these stronger, clearer, more directional frequencies for you. So, you know, if you're coming to this reading perhaps at the end of June when it's just gone out, then make sure you revisit as we move through the month of July to see how that fog and that kind of confusion is lifting for you and giving you the opportunity to step more into your power, to step into your greatness, and to be able to take control of something. I love with this particular depiction of the Empress, this vibrant orange that she's used around the figure. For me, very much tapping into your sacral chakra, which is the seat of your creativity. It's where you are bringing all of that fertility forth to help you birth something new. And it's that burst of energy that we're talking about that's giving you the willpower to look at a new direction, or to take hold of something, to grab hold of something in your life and say, okay, this is what I want. This is the direction I'm now ready to take for myself. And I see you being quite bold and quite bolshy with that. And I think you might need to be, you know, so even if you're coming up against other energies that don't quite understand the perspective that you're putting forward, or perhaps are coming up with an opposing ideology at the moment, which does bring about a little bit of confusion. So here we have the Seven of Cups coming in. Now this is going to be a very spiritual month, yeah? We've got a beautiful sun trining Neptune on the 12th. At the moment we have a whole host of planets retrograde. Now the nice thing is Venus has now moved direct as of the 25th of June. So I am recording this just before that, but probably by the time you're tuning into this, that's now lifted. So from a relationship perspective, you're starting to see a little bit, more ease and flow in terms of the way that we're communicating. But we still have Mercury retrograde till the 12th. And with these energies, we are deep in that sense of assessment and review and trying to internalize, our emotions and what's going on. And Cancer wants us to go within. This season is about looking at all of the choices and the options that are available to us. Now, let's be frank, if you have a very set direction or a set plan in place, and all of a sudden this month starts to deliver more possibilities to you, that can also kind of almost destabilize you a little bit, because you had a plan and you were all set to begin to put that in motion, or to kind of get back on track with something. And so all of a sudden this left field idea, or this, new connection turns up, or this, epiphany kind of lands, and, it causes you to stop and to reflect. And remember, we've just come out of solstice energy, which is about this rebalancing. So understand that, choices coming forth are not here to cause doubt in terms of what your bigger plan might look like, Libra. They're actually here to open up the playing field even more, so that you can kind of sit in that space, in that beautiful container of energy, with the self, with your higher self, and really figure out if what your plan and what your intention was are in alignment with, where you want to head to. And I think that the review of that is going to be really important. And you might find that all of the pieces are not showing up yet. I've got this note that's coming in that's saying really July is about delivering you beautiful insights, moments in time, whether they are reflections to the past because of retrograde, moments that you're experiencing in the now, in this present moment, that's kind of showing you how you've changed and who you're becoming, but also these lovely fragments of kind of what the future is going to look like. And so in some ways you're being invited to be the one that sort of tries to piece all of this together. And in doing so, I think you have to surrender and abandon a lot of that logical way of thinking, and just allow yourself to be kind of silently pulled and guided forward to a certain extent. So here we've got the 10 of coins coming in, which is lovely, because we have this sense of security, right? Emotional security, fiscal security, the feeling of family and being supported. Now, for some of you, that might not feel like it's particularly your reality right now, but what we're being shown here is that through the month of July, you're having the opportunity to reevaluate and reimagine your relationship to these themes. And so if we're looking to bring in more emotional security within our life, what do we need to change to start to manifest that? How is that going to start to show up and materialize for us? So I do see you being afforded the foresight, Libra, to make some strong decisions that are about you coming to terms with something, okay, and then making the right choice for you in terms of who you want to align with, the ideas that you want to work with. There's like almost like a sense of prioritization that I see happening, okay? And that maybe as part of that, you need to let some things fall away. Now remember, Cancer season is bringing us 2 new moons. So we just had the new moon with the solar eclipse on June 21st. And the second new moon is going to come in July on the 20th. So what that is indicating is that some of the ideas and the thoughts and the intentions and the seeds that you wanted to plant around June 21st perhaps were marred or were kind of put against the backdrop of something that the eclipse had to deliver. So perhaps that came in and kind of revealed something to you. It brought an emotion to the surface. It brought a truth to light. And so almost like we then get the second chance to sort of revisit that on the 20th. Now the new moon comes in opposition to Saturn. Now remember, Saturn now retrograde in Capricorn. So there is a little bit of an aspect of like, you need to fight for what you want. You need to have that willpower. You need to have that determination. So, these energies are available to you, Libra, but it's about how intentional you decide to be through this month as to what your experiences are going to come through like, yeah? So what I am feeling is that there also may be for some of you this desire to want to break free from a particular group, a particular environment, maybe even within a family dynamic. Maybe there's some major shifts or changes happening in that part of your life. And if that is the case and you're ready to just find your wings in some regards, and that could also relate to the career opportunities as we're looking at this 10th house in the Cancer season for some of you. But we have this burst of energy. So Ace of Wands coming in here, really mirroring that full energy. And for me, linking in powerfully to that orange. It's very fiery. It's very motivational. It's very cardinal. And so even if you are still at times feeling a little bit uncertain and overwhelmed by some of the choices and the possibilities, I still have this sense that you are going to be moving forward, right? But what we need to remember is that with that ace energy, it's all raw potential. So you have to step up and decide the way in which you want to direct it. And that matters, yeah? So remembering that on the 11th, we also have Chiron, the wounded healer planet, moving retrograde in the sign of Aries, which is your polar opposite, that mirror aspect, into your 7th house of relationships. So again, we might be dealing with, and particularly as Mercury is retrograde in Cancer as well, some conversations and some narratives that feel very, very sensitive. So you might have some plans that you want to initiate. You may well have some conversations and directions that you want to share, and perhaps they're not fully understood or endorsed by others, and that could feel quite wounding perhaps to some of you. Understand that this is also a time when you're being invited to give yourself the validation, to understand where you're holding your value within yourself, and not needing that external acceptance to be able to set off in the direction that you now need to. Queen of Cups energy coming in, does invite you to sense and move your way forward, to listen to what everybody has to say. So I do see that you are prepared to kind of sit down and understand what the alternate viewpoint is, and I think that's important because this is also a time when you need to educate and inform yourself so that you do understand the impact of what these choices and decisions and the changes that you want to make for yourself are likely to have, right? And we understand that, of course, like this domino effect that's going to come through, it is going to impact people's lives around you in lots of different ways. But should that be a reason that you don't move forward, if it's really something that's coming from your heart? No, it isn't. And I think that's important to understand, particularly within relationship dynamics as well. The Queen of Cups is, at times a very passive energy, and actually it's kind of at odds with what I'm picking up as this driving sort of focused, directional, intentional vision that you have. So I think if you're not careful and you absorb too much of what other people are trying to influence or bring to the table, and that could impact some of you in terms of your romantic relationships, your friendships, and what's happening within family or work environments. So however it's showing up, I think that the ability to sort of almost step back and become more submissive, because you just very quickly lose the edge of that confidence or that belief in yourself. And that's where we need to draw a line and just stop and take a breath and pause and realize that actually this is your life, this is your journey, and that you have to walk it in a way that feels authentic to you, and that isn't always going to be right for other people. That isn't always going to be something that everyone is on board with or everyone wants to celebrate, And I do see success coming for some of you this month, and perhaps again you're going to bump up against some other individuals who find that difficult to process, maybe a little bit of envy, maybe a little bit of worry that you're going to either leave them behind, or that somehow they're not going to be part of that inner circle that you might be creating in terms of a soul family or a community. And if that is the case, then again, I see you dealing with it compassionately, but also quite firmly, because at the moment, everybody is being invited to return home to the self and to really work with their own potential, to work on what is being highlighted to them in terms of the soul themes that they need to work on. And it's going to be different for every single individual. So there is no one right way forward. Your journey is not going to look the same as someone else's. So here we have the Empress stepping forward, helping to give you that sense of power and control, and authority and gravitas. So I also think that, whatever is coming in terms of accomplishment and success for some of you this month, Libra, is giving you a little bit more of that security so that you can start to plan and strategize what comes next. And the Emperor likes to make calculated risks, right? So there's a conservatism about him at times, but he is also somebody that when he knows that this is the right move, he will put everything behind it to make that happen. And that will pay off. And that's what it feels like. Some of you are going to be dealing with that kind of a situation where you might be going all in with something, but it's based on not only physical evidence, but very much energetic evidence in terms of what you're receiving as a download from your higher self. Yeah. So we also have in this reading Emperor and Empress. So what it also shows me is that there is a power dynamic in terms of a couple situation here. This may be somebody you're already involved with or you want to be, could be your marriage partner, or it could be in business. What I see is that there is opportunity for taking something to a new direction. But there is also, I guess, like some of these emotional energies that are permeating into the equation, which is good because it's going to bring balance, right? We're definitely going to have that opportunity to try to understand one another, and almost like look at that language and how we're communicating and seeing where we can evolve and become better people in that instance. And for some of you, I think you are going to have the opportunity to come together and to find a connection that is very meaningful and very powerful for you. Now, how that shows up may not necessarily be romantic for all of you, okay? But what I certainly see is it's somebody who's very in alignment with the energy that you are expressing at the moment, Libra, okay? And that is important, because for you to be able to move through this month and allow the growth to take place, you also need people who are kind of almost understanding of the pace with which you are changing and the way that you are evolving. And so anyone who's trying to hold you back or is bringing lower frequencies or energies to the table is just going to feel incredibly dense for you. Now, here we have the card of the Hermit. It could indicate a Virgo energy. I think it's interesting the way the artist has depicted this kind of huge grey void almost. And I don't know, I kind of feel like to a certain extent you are I kind of feel that this is someone else, if I'm really honest, Libra. What I'm picking up is that there's an energy of somebody who feels very disconnected from you, who feels like they can't reach you. And perhaps that's because you have actively chosen to step back from somebody or to create a little bit of space. And I think that that's needed. That's really about you being able to find out, like, who you are at this point in the year, and make sense of how you need to reimagine some areas of your life. I also think, though, there is a beautiful spiritual energy that comes to you through the Hermit energy this month, Libra, and that actually what you can take from that is that the trusting of what's coming from within you is going to be so incredibly important. I also think some of you have really navigated through an incredibly difficult dark night of the soul kind of a journey, and that also what we're seeing through this month of July is a beautiful emergence from that, with a few battle scars, but also this deeply accepting understanding of the complexity of how things have played out, but also why, and the knowing of like all of the possibilities that are still to come. So I just see this tremendous sense of wisdom that is also coming forth for you, that I think is going to be really helpful in what comes next. So here we have the Knight of Swords, links into an air sign. Of course, could be yourself, Libra, Gemini, or Aquarius. Could certainly be somebody who's come back from the past, maybe already, or is still set to come in as we're in retrograde season. Interestingly, though, we can also see that this Knight is kind of charging towards the Hermit card here. So trying to pierce through that sort of barrier, that boundary. So I'm also going to say that perhaps some of you may be challenged a little bit in your boundaries through this month, and that could come up in any number of areas in your life, Libra. I do see that you have the centeredness and the vision to be able to see it coming. That's what I'm going to say to you, because that's where your Emperor's stepping in really strongly. I think that he's giving you the absolute foresight. It's like you've been there, you've done that, you've got the experience. Like nothing really phases you, nothing really surprises you. So whatever or whoever this represents through the month of July, I don't think it's coming as a huge surprise to you. And whatever surfaces in terms of some of the hidden emotions or the energies, I think is probably going to be quite cathartic in the end for you, because it's going to help you to reconcile something, even if it's just to understand like how far you've come within a certain process, or to more clearly define that actually what you want and the choices that you're looking to make in your life are right for you. They are right for you. So beautiful burst of inspiration coming at some point. And I do honestly feel like you could have such a lovely spiritual experience where something is revealed or shown to you, and you're just going to get incredibly excited about the possibility of it as you move through July. What I do want to say is, again, just with the timing of things and the understanding that we can sit in our empowered position, you know, Empress really ruling this whole reading to say, I'm just going to draw more energy towards me before I start to take action on this. Yeah. And I think that's going to be important. So there is a time and quality here. I think a lot of what starts to surface in July is things that you're going to be working on to bring to a point of culmination toward the end of the year. And some of that may be a slight revisit to what was on your mind as we began 2020, right? Because we're having that full moon in Capricorn. So we have to go back to the new moon to look at the seeds that you planted around that time. That lovely lunar eclipse has a trine with Uranus, which can bring positive, slightly unexpected, surprising changes. But I think it's about the revelations that you're getting within yourself about actually perhaps something that you discarded or let go of now coming back full circle, and you realizing a new and a better approach. You know, from a relationship perspective, I think you are in listening mode, but you're also determined to not lose the newly fought for, right? Because I do feel you've fought for it, sense of empowerment. So your oracle card to reflect your reading for July is memories, cherished memories of loved ones. So of course, with all of this retrograde energy, it does, bring this poignancy and this sentimental kind of energy. And I think your Seven of Cups, your Queen of Cups are helping you to access that. And I think it's important because you're also going to see how far you've come with that, making sense of some of the moments in your journey that perhaps have been on occasion very bittersweet. Perhaps, as you start to reunite with loved ones and family and friends, like post this sort of lockdown, that you're just being reminded of how important certain people are in your life. We've got the family card showing up really strong here with that 10 of coins. And, I think that's also helping you to just make some firmer decisions about the type of life that you now want for yourself and the people who mean the most to you moving forward. So make sure you take some time for that lovely kind of intuitive daydreaming, melodic kind of energy, because it is going to permeate all the way through July. And I think it is going to help give you the balance to what we're seeing as a lot of cardinal energy coming forth. That's giving you that sort of burst that wants you to start to initiate and take some positive action towards different things. So a lot of beautiful feminine energy coming through with that. And I think that the Empress is helping you to direct that in a state of grace, but also with a toughness that's almost even a little bit gritty. I almost kind of feel that it's Empress, she didn't get to where she has without understanding and sort of making a few mistakes and experiencing those kind of challenges, and then coming to this state of absolute knowing of the generosity and the way that she can be completely at one within herself, connect to the earth, connect to others. So your astrological card is the 8th house, endings and beginnings. It's quite an intense placement in the 8th house, ruled by Scorpio. It's all about transformation, metamorphosis. It deals with power. And it deals with that aspect of the hidden self. So again, linking into that Emperor and Hermit energy, but an opportunity for you to release and let go of a part of yourself that is no longer needed as we move forward into the next chapter. But at times that can feel a little heavy and dense. So we have a bit of a mishmash of energies going on. There's a lot of lightness and playfulness and sentimental, gentle energies. There's also a lot of cardinal, powerful fire energies to come in, and then this deeper kind of shadow aspect that we're also trying to traverse. So, you may well be experiencing a bit of an emotional ride through this month that's taking you on the full spectrum. But again, understand all of that is really going to help you to get much clearer about what you're looking for next. Karmic relationships. Okay, so for many of you, I think there is an understanding that the distance, again, I'm kind of going back to this idea of the distance that you are feeling, perhaps from a friendship group, perhaps from a particular person or partner or family, is rooted and infused and kind of intricately woven into a past life and karmic situation. And I think that you don't need to seek validation for that. You just need to trust in what you're feeling. You just need to know that your understanding of the way that you're sensing the energy, and that, often you will be picking up on another person or collective group of people, and that will perhaps elicit a whole series of responses, like we said, bringing that hidden emotion to the surface and perhaps giving you a new perspective on things. Helping you to come to terms with something, I think, is probably linked quite powerfully into this particular card. So those relationships transforming, changing, evolving, ending, and perhaps new people coming in very swiftly and unexpectedly, that all feel very much part of your intrinsic journey. And your ability to discern that, I think, is getting much stronger as well, Libra. So just that sense of knowing that when you're coming into contact with certain individuals, actually they are part of your soul family and your community, and that's really something that you want to align to, that you want to create and you want to bring together. So I hope that's given you a little bit of insight for this beautiful month of July. What I'm going to do now is go ahead and pull us some clarifying cards for the extended reading. So if you would like to join me for that, we talk for another 20 minutes or so. We'll go into a lot more depth. This is a general reading, so what I'm going to invite you to do right now, Libra, is to just focus on a particular question that you might have that has not been answered. We'll pull a couple of cards and that will be covered off in the extended reading. You can find the link for that in the description box underneath the video or over on my website, romywyser.com. And if this reading has resonated, please drop me a like or a comment. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Okay, so just pulling a couple of cards for your question just now. And then let's go ahead and just clarify this main spread. So let's just begin with the full energy here. Page of Swords, okay. Just new ideas and inspirations really coming in. Again, this sense of sisterhood, of soul, family, of community being important. Moving in the direction of it or moving away, I think, from some. Empress is bringing in the card of the Devil, which is linking into that Capricorn energy, and that's where I want to go with it. But you may well be experiencing temptation or, you know, a particular individual or situation that is causing you that kind of a restrictive energy. Could well be connected into your finances, your stability, what's going on at work, but we'll look at that in more detail. Queen of Wands, okay, we've got fire energy here as well. Sagittarius, Leo or Aries that might be part of this equation. Seven of Cups is bringing in this card of transformation and rebirth, also linked into Scorpio, so very much to that astrological energy that we picked up there. Eight of Cups, so there is something that you are seeking to move away from. And I think, again, I get this sort of bittersweet energy. That's what I think some of you that's going to make sense as you move through July in terms of some of the choices that you're going to be making. Knight of Pentacles here. Could be an earth sign. Another card of the Emperor. Ace of Wands bringing in the Seven of Swords. Hanged Man, very Neptunian influence, and of course Neptune just turned retrograde today as I film this, but that's going to be a transit we're working with. When it's taking that backspin, it's really stripping the illusions away and making us deal with the reality of things. But, you know, sometimes that can feel harsh at times, but it's needed. Perhaps there's a little bit of avoidance there, though. If you look at the way the figures turned away there, either avoidance from you or from someone else, perhaps, that's not willing to listen. And listening's important here. We'll go into that. But conversation with the Queen of Cups here, who does that represent? Is it a water sign, Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces? Or somebody who's in need of your help? Interestingly, I feel like she's really holding her space in amongst two quite challenging energies of the King of Swords and the Emperor there. So you're holding your own with that Empress as well. And I want to give you that. There is a situation perhaps that may unfold for you this month where you need to hold your own, Libra. But we'll look in that in the extended. Ace of Wands again. Another King coming through here. Maybe this is a Virgo energy. You've got another 10 of Pentacles, so... And another card of the Fool. Ace of Cups, nice. Another Seven of Cups. Okay, Libra, thank you so much for tuning in. I look forward to continuing this conversation if you want to join me for the extended. Otherwise, I wish you bright blessings for this month of July, and thanks for being here. Take good care.